We're getting close. Just a couple of days away. Georgia, Texas, night game in Austin. DKR is going to be rocking. Georgia is a bigger underdog than we have seen in years and years and years. What do we make of that next on Locked On Bulldogs podcast?
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back. This is Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. And thank you, everydayers who are here with us. You guys are the best. We do this podcast for you. It is for fans by fans. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel.com. FanDuel, make every moment more with FanDuel. More on them in a moment. He is Daniel. I am Clint. Together, we are Locked On Bulldogs. We are glad that you're here. We're heading into Texas week, and we are thrilled about it. We are excited about it. Nope, that's a lie. We are all up in our feels. We are nervous.
The bucket manufacturers are thrilled by it.
They are. Plastics have never been a bigger friend to us than right now, because that just contains all of our anxiety and all of our nervousness into a receptacle. We like a bucket. And if you don't have a bucket, get used to it, because he just described night game in Austin. That play's going to be rocking against the best offensive tackle, best offensive line. You could try to debate me, but you can't debate best offensive tackle in college football, best offensive line, Steve Sarkisian, and a quarterback that knows the system, knows what he's doing. It's going to be quite the test. We're going to break it down. Today's episode is the locks. We're giving you locks for the preview of the Georgia game. If you missed yesterday's episode, we had a little crossover with Jonathan Davis over at Locked On Texas. He came on the show. Great guy. Gave us his insight to Texas. We're going to give you our official predictions for this game and the rest of the games that are slated to go for the rest of the week. Get in on it, because I got some Friday action in second segment and third segment that you're going to want to be part of, because there's some interesting games in the Friday slate of games. But let's start.
The Friday games this year, Clint, have been unbelievably good.
I don't know. They didn't do it on purpose, because some of these on paper before the season could not have worked
great. Yeah.
But now in season, oh my goodness, these games are something else.
Yeah, I also have a Friday night play, so we'll get to that in segment 2. Let's talk about segment 1 right now. We mentioned it in the open. Georgia is a 4.5-point underdog.
Oh my.
To Texas. That we don't see that. So if you've been waiting to be able to catch points and bet on your favorite football team, Georgia fans, I have some great news for you. The time is here. It has finally arrived. Georgia, I mean, who knows how the rest of the season will go, right? But as it stands right now, this seems to be the biggest dog that Georgia would be all year until we get into, I mean, maybe a SEC championship or college football playoff scenario. And even that, with it being a true road game, I can't imagine. Let's break this game down, Clint. And then I'm going to ask if you have a lock. First of all, I want to kind of push through the line a little bit. If you're not a betting person,
let's just talk about it in general, the game as a whole.
Yeah. When a team is favored by 4.5 points, Las Vegas is taking home field advantage into account. Typically, a home field advantage would be in the 3 to 4 point range. This is a night game in Austin. This is going to be a 4 to 5, I would think, home field advantage, meaning that the people in Las Vegas actually believe that in a neutral site, this is a coin flip game. In a neutral site, maybe Georgia's a slight favorite in this game. But this is not a neutral site game.
Nope.
This is a big road test, the second big road test of the year for this Georgia football team and for Carson Beck. Clint, how do you see this game playing out? Do you have a lock? And what do you think the score is going to be when all is said and done?
It's really unique, because on paper, when you look at what Texas is able to do well and what Georgia is able to do well, you might think to yourself, well, this is going to be a high-scoring game. If you look at Texas's numbers on defense against offensive teams that they've played, they're not great because they haven't played anybody offensively. The most notable quarterback is the quarterback we just faced, Mississippi State, a true freshman who came out and showed some skill running around and tossing the ball up. But other than that, they haven't faced anybody. They haven't faced any offensive coordinator like Mike Bobo. It's not even close. So they will be tested. Steve Sarkisian is not a defensive guy. Texas has some dudes. They're all on the offensive side of the ball. I think they got some defensive linemen on Texas. So on paper, this looks like it should be a shootout. I do anticipate it being high in score. It might be another Alabama game. I think that's going to be kind of the recipe for this game or the story as it plays out. But truth be told, Daniel, the more I think about this, the more I think, and I hear from Kirby's notes to me this week, or not notes to me, the notes I took on Kirby talk.
You and Kirby passing notes?
If so, I would tell no one, because
did you check yes or no, Clint? People are wondering.
Whatever Kirby says, I say yes to, just to let you all in on this.
He checked yes, guys. Okay.
Kirby's talking about Ellis Robinson needing more playing time. We have to find a way to get him out. Okay. Thank you. Talking about number 5. We have to get him the ball more. Mm-hmm. Talking about all of a sudden Tate Ratledge is questionable for this game. Daniel, some things, Michael Williams.
Listen, I'm going to tell you this. I saw him on the sideline.
Yeah.
No brace, no nothing. He's just out there walking around. He's just out there in shorts and a mullet walking around on the sideline.
He had more clothes on than that, just to let everybody know. He wasn't like he had.
Okay.
Tate does what Tate
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Clint said that. He wasn't even there.
I wasn't even there. Daniel, I think this game is 35-38. And I honestly, today at this point, it's a coin flip for me on who is 38 and who's 35. Honest to goodness, I'm not lying. I am a homer. I'm a fan. But the more I think about this, the more that Carson Beck is playing with confidence, the more that we're getting the right people into position, the more that we are healthy in the right positions. Michael Williams being healthy off the edge, that offensive line is very good up the middle, very good up the middle. You get him on that other tackle position, I think you could exploit it. I think we have the receivers to go toe-to-toe with them. I think it's 35-38. I can't say who wins this game. It's coin flip for me.
We're both going to pick this game to be a 3-point margin, and then I'm going to say something at the end that's not going to make any sense. But I disagree with you, first of all. And Jonathan said the same thing yesterday when we talked to him from Locked On Longhorns. I disagree about the shootout. There's something about this game to me, Clint, that just feels like it's going to be a little bit lower scoring. I feel like both these teams are going to be feeling each other out a little bit. I feel like there's going to be some nervy football being played early on in the game. And I think both these defenses are actually going to settle in a little bit and perform better than expected. And so I got this game 24-21, and I'm not going back and forth about who's going to win it. I think it's going to be 24-21 Georgia. I think Georgia's going to win this game by 3 points, which means if I'm going to have the opportunity to lock up Georgia plus 4.5 points, Clint, Randy, you better put it on the graphic. Lock up the Georgia Bulldogs plus 4.5.
Yes, y'all. My lock, I 3-point is the game, and if it's coin flip, I'm taking the 4.5. I'm sprinkling a good chunk on the money line too, because again, I think this team puts it all together. I truly and honestly do. We play 4 quarters, and if that's good enough to beat Texas and Austin, I'm still taking the 4.5. Lock up Georgia plus 4.5. Absolutely. Georgia under Kirby Smart has been an underdog. Daniel, do you know how many times they've been an underdog under Kirby Smart?
How many times?
11 times. Daniel, 11 times. In those games, he has 7-4 in those games.
Outright.
Against, yeah. So I think we're going to be just fine.
Yeah. He also hasn't lost in 4 years to a school not named Alabama. So
you're telling me I get Kirby Smart if you're telling me I need one defense to make a stand in this game, which defense am I? I'm picking Kirby Smart's defense for one time.
I don't know, Clint. You may have lost me there. I'm going to say this. We both picked a 3-point game here. And so I'm not trying to talk out of both sides of my mouth. I'm just trying to tell you that I think a blowout either way is a live play in this game. Like, I think a 10-point to 12-point win on either side is a legitimate possibility. There's a chance. Well, I have to go on FanDuel and run the numbers. FanDuel gives you a ton of great options in terms of how you can bet. But there's a chance I might be playing a little like Texas minus 13 and Georgia minus 10 in this game, like as some alternate lines if I can get some decent juice on them. So I do think both of those are live. I predicted a close game. I think Georgia's going to win, but the thing I like the most is Georgia plus those points. So give me that. We will be back talking more lines, more spreads right after these.
FanDuel, all of these we are giving you are from FanDuel. We've talked about it so far. We're going to continue talking about every single lock, every single point spread that we give you comes from FanDuel. NFL fans, you can start the season off with big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. It's where Daniel and I go. It's the official sports book of Locked On Bulldogs and Locked On Podcast, where it's the only place that Daniel and I do. When we make these bets, we place them, we put them over there. FanDuel.com, make every moment more. All right, Daniel, let's talk about the rest of the slate of games. You said you had Friday action. I say I have Friday action. Let's get into it because there's a lot of interesting lines in this week. Again, there is never a dull moment ever in college football. If you've been watching this season, it's college football. For any of the casuals that say, well, it's kind of a boring slate, disregard them. Just kick them out.
Please.
Because
please disregard them.
Okay, Daniel, which Friday game do you have action on?
Well, hottest team in the country, Clint. The Oregon Ducks are playing on Friday. I mean, should be number one. Am I right, Texas fans? Should be the number one team in the country. Just beat Ohio State. Who is Texas beating? Nobody. So Oregon coming off of a big time win. And they're now going to they played on Saturday night. And now we're coming into a Friday night action. They're going to hop aboard the airplane. They're going to hop aboard the airplane. They're going to travel. They're going to travel to Purdue. It's West Lafayette is not exactly an international hub in terms of flights in and out. You understand what I'm trying to say? It's not the easiest travel situation.
They call it the flyover states for a reason.
Yeah, you don't typically fly into them.
No.
I hate this bet, Clint. I hate it with everything in me.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take Purdue and all the points. 27.5 is the number I'm getting. Do I wish it was 28, Randy? Of course I wish it was 28. Randy, if you want to put 28 on the graphic and help me out, I wouldn't blame you.
Randy.
I wouldn't blame you. But I'm taking Purdue. I'm taking all the points. I just think letdowns are real in college football. These are college
especially this
kids. Letdowns are real. Purdue is bad, but they did just score 49 points against Illinois last weekend. They maybe figured a few things out on the offensive side of the football. And spoiler alert, it happened to coincide when they fired their offensive coordinator. And then the next week, they come out and score 49 points against a ranked team. So if Purdue can score some points, I don't think Oregon's going to be going for the jugular in this game. I think they're trying to get in there, get out. I see maybe a 14-point win for the Ducks and an easy cover for me on Friday night.
I don't hate that bet at all. I'm not taking it. If it was anywhere, I have a principle about 30. You give me a 30 burger, and I will essentially take most teams in that situation. If this was, and it's close to that. So you're on that border. I think the travel week, the shortened week, and a team that is a different team, I like it. I'm going to go to another principle, and here's the principle. It's a very simple principle. It has nothing to do with betting. It has everything to do with this team. Take Army. That's the principle. Army is giving 15.5.
Is that a Friday night game? No, that's a Saturday game.
No, that's a Friday game, Daniel.
Army, East Carolina. That's a Saturday. That's a Saturday
Is
noon.
that Saturday?
That's a big
that's Saturday.
noon
That's
on Saturday.
yeah, that's a big. That's the first one. My apologies.
No
I
worries.
was looking at my wrong.
I don't listen. Keep going with your bet though. Don't let me derail you.
East Carolina. Let me tell you who they've beaten. Norfolk State. Ugh. Old Dominion. Okay. Lost to App State.
That's
and
a
it's not
Freightliner is what that is, Clint.
That is a hauling company. App State, which is not your daddy's App State from Michigan over a decade ago. Liberty beat them. App State beat them. UTSA, they escaped with a 10-point win. And then Charlotte trounced them 55 points. Army is putting up baller numbers. Army's a real deal school, y'all. They are not.
Maybe the most efficient offense and defense in America.
Efficiency is what I'm looking for. East Carolina don't have the dudes, don't have the coaching. 15.5 is nothing for me to get at. I think they're going to have this covered by the third quarter, and I think they're going to. Army don't know how to let off. If their offense is wrong, they don't know how to let off. It's how their system is working. They don't know how to
literally can't. They cannot run the clock out.
If they do, the rest their season is done. If they try to and they tank their off, it's done. It's derailed forever. So give me Army, given the 15.5.
You might be curious why I was so aware of what time that game kicked off, Clint. It's because I'm also laying it with the Black Knights. Of course I am. Army minus 15.5. It's right here on the sheet. We agree on that one, and so we're both on that. Clint, give the people an actual Friday night play because they really want one.
They really want the Friday night play. I'm going to go back to another principle on this, Daniel, and the principle is this. BYU is a dang good football team. Daniel.
That's true. That's
a dang good. Oklahoma State is not a good football team at all. I don't know how to tell this to you. Barry Sanders ain't walking through those doors. They don't have many dudes that can play anymore. Utah, that is not a good Utah team, beat them. West Virginia is okay. Beat them just last week, 38-14. Kansas State beating them. This team is not who we think they are. BYU has everything to play for in front of them. BYU is a playoff team right now today, Daniel.
And BYU and Iowa State, undefeated Big 12 teams.
They have everything in front of them. This team does not go ahead. And right now they are giving 9.5. It's not double digits. I think this actually gets up to 10 by the time we kick on Friday. But give me BYU laying the points, Daniel.
All right, I'm going to go one more here. And yeah, let's just talk about fraudulent teams, right? Should we just talk about teams that are fraudulent? Miami. Do I need to keep going?
Nope. You said everything that needs to be there.
Miami's a fraudulent team. So they should have lost to Cal. They should have lost to Virginia Tech. You want to talk about a bad team, Clint? It's Virginia Tech. That's who that is.
Real bad.
Miami shouldn't even be remotely close to where they are ranked right now. Should not be an undefeated team. They travel to Louisville, and Louisville's catching 4.5 at home. A home team, Clint, catching points against a fraud. Yeah, so go ahead and give me the cards and lock up Louisville plus 4.5 at home.
Love that. We're going to come back after these, give you more locks, but first, these. Guys, sometimes intimate moments happen spontaneously, and we always want to be ready so we can perform in the bedroom. Hims provides access to treatment that can help you stay hard and last longer, giving you the boost of confidence so you can be ready whenever the mood strikes. Hims is changing men's healthcare, providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. No insurance is needed. One low price covers everything from treatment to ongoing care. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/lockedon. That's HIMS.com/lockedon for your personalized ED treatment options. hims.com/lockedon. The products mentioned are chewable compound products which are not approved by or verified for the safety effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plans. Daniel, we got more to give out. They're fraudulent. Miami is fraudulent. I agree 1,000%. A team that's not fraudulent that should give you encouragement, Georgia fans, for this game on Saturday, the more you think about it, is the Clemson Tigers. Clemson Tiger is a good old team. Dabo Swinney, not a good coach. That team, fighting. They're good. Virginia, not a good football team. You look at this line, and it's a lot of points, Daniel. I'm not going to lie to you.
It's a lot to lay.
It's 21.5. They're laying points. But what if I was to tell you this? Clemson this year against the spread are 4-1 as a home team. Yeah. They are 3-0 against it.
Keep betting against them, and I keep getting burned.
Give me Clemson 21.5, even if they go into halftime. This is what they've done the last couple. They've gone into halftime, closer games. They look pedestrian in the first half. They come out second half, and they boat race people because Cade Klubnik is a good quarterback. Yes, you heard me, and we held him to nothing. They got a good offensive line, a good running game, and a defense that is absolutely feisty. I'm laying the points with Clemson. Lock them up.
I looked over at my son last week. We were sitting back at the hotel after going to the Georgia game, watching the end of that Ole Miss LSU game. Clint, you watched it. You know about it.
Oh, I know.
What a doozy of a game. The game ends, and I turn my head to the left as such, and I say, LSU is going to lose to Arkansas next week. Those were the first words out of my mouth after that LSU Ole Miss game. I thought I was going to come on here and give you Arkansas plus 6 at home, Arkansas plus 7.5 at home.
And then what happened?
I get on here and LSU is less than a field goal favorite in this game. I still think there's a chance that LSU loses this game. But I think there's a much greater chance that they eventually outlast an inferior Arkansas. Arkansas is just LSU light. You understand? Like, that's exactly who that team is. A less talented version of LSU. Arkansas has had some home field magic. Hello, Tennessee. This year. I don't expect a repeat performance of that. Arkansas has been a scrappy football team. I get that. I think Brian Kelly and LSU have figured some things out. And so as much as I did not expect to be doing this, I'm going to be laying 2.5 with LSU on the road against Arkansas.
Man, LSU and Arkansas played their best defensive game at home. Again, you want to look at LSU's schedule. They have a very favorable schedule coming up. LSU, if they get past Arkansas, Daniel, a good amount of their game. It's the Alabama game, and guess where they're at for that game, Daniel?
At home.
At home. Y'all, LSU, I'm not trying to troll people. They get through this week, because I have them on upset alert. I'm not making a lock. But LSU gets through this week and then takes on Alabama. Their schedule sets up nicely because the defense plays well at home. Again, it's Death Valley. That's their defense. They may be in the SEC championship conversation, Daniel.
These are the casuals, Clint, that are going to tell you it's not a good slate, and they're not even looking at LSU Arkansas. LSU Arkansas is an unbelievably intriguing game, Clint.
So good.
I got 2 more locks left.
Okay, well, I got one more. I'm going to give you one more, and then you can give the people your 2 more. I'm going to give a couple leans as I go through. Oklahoma, South Carolina, real interesting to me. I think Oklahoma bounces back after a real bad game. I think they bounce back. It's only 1.5. They're at home. South Carolina is a boom or bust team, and they didn't have the gall to bury Alabama when they should have.
Letdown spot. Gotta be a letdown for South Carolina, right? Coming off that performance.
They were 1 touchdown throws. If Sellers actually puts a ball on a dude, they win that game. So I would lean Oklahoma in that one. But I'm going to go to a couple SEC teams, SEC slate early in the morning on Saturday. Auburn, Mizzou, Daniel. Okay. Auburn is winless in the SEC. Mizzou, talk about fraud. Mizzou's a fraud, y'all.
Oh yeah.
Ole Miss is a fraud because they had a bunch of their transfer guys out and they couldn't keep up and they couldn't perform when the lights were too bright. Lane's a fraud, and he is currently talking to a real estate agent. I promise you.
Yeah.
Auburn is bad. They're not fraudulent. They're bad.
Well, they're bad.
But they got dudes. Like their coach is bad, but they got dudes. This is 4.5. I know they're on the road.
It's a weird game.
I completely agree. This is a weird game. I'm going to sprinkle Auburn on the money line. So, of course, I'm going to take the underdog 4.5. I don't think Mizzou has the dudes that Auburn does. And I think they're let down. I think Cook is who he was 18 years ago when he was just starting to play football. He's the same dude always. Luther Burton is getting a little bit agitated with people. When your best offensive player gets agitated with people like that so visibly, and he came out of the game, then came back in, give me Auburn plus 4.5.
Don't hate it, Clint. Don't hate it at all. I am going to go out west. Actually, I'm going to go out east, and that's the premise of this lock. When a team has to travel all the way across the country, I'm not sure if you've been keeping up, but they've not been doing well this year against the spread.
When you go from east to west and you're kind of going with time, it's okay. When you're going against time, it's rough.
What if I were to compound that with the fact that the worst team in the Power 4 is UCLA? Deshaun Foster does not belong. Is that fair? Is that fair for me?
How did he stumble into that job? Honestly, how did he stumble into that job other than being
he was a very good running back at UCLA, and therein ends his resume. Okay, they're traveling all the way to the East Coast to New Jersey to play a game against Rutgers. You understand how far it is from LA to New Jersey? It's a long way.
I do.
Rutgers is laying 4.5. I would lay 7.5 in this game. I wouldn't have any trouble with it whatsoever. UCLA is a terrible, terrible, terrible football team.
Yeah, of course.
Rutgers is going to roll right through them. They're going to run it. They're going to run it all over them. And then I'm going to go to really two teams that are kind of struggling. I mentioned last week Purdue scored 49 points. They scored that 49 points against Illinois. Illinois, who's still a ranked team, managed to get that win 50-49 last week over Purdue. Illinois is struggling a little bit.
Yes, they are.
But they're not Michigan, Clint. This is a wrong team is favored situation. And this game is at Illinois. On a neutral site, Illinois is the better football team here. They should be like a 2-point favorite. And so you're telling me at home, Illinois is catching 3.5? That's an easy bet. That is easy.
They went to Penn State during a whiteout, and old coach poked the bear with the whiteout folk, and they only lost by 2 scores in that.
Played
game.
admirably.
Okay, they played
Michigan
well. That game
ain't Penn State this year.
No. Penn State now being called a playoff favorite after they're showing at US.
National championship. You might as well James Franklin's going to win the national championship, said everyone who's never watched James Franklin coach in big games.
In November, he will fail you. Just to let you know. I'm here to tell you ahead of time. I'm
only
Nostradamus.
Ever done that. Ever. But other than that, you got a great shot.
Those are all the locks we got. Thanks for being here. This is Locked On Bulldogs. Come back tomorrow where we talk about what we're excited, we're nervous, and don't sleep on for this Texas game. He is Daniel. I am Clint, and we will see you all next time.
See ya.